Shana Tova. Since it's the high holy day season, I have some confessions to make. During this pandemic, I slipped on a very important mitzvah. Some say it's the most important mitzvah. It's actually one of the big 10. Lo tachmod beit re'echa. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. It's the last of the 10 commandments. It's a very interesting commandment because it legislates our feelings. There's been a lot of coveting during this pandemic. Many of us cannot help but post pictures of our lives on social media from our homes. And we're seeing things in other people's homes that we've never seen before. For example, before the pandemic, I felt blessed not to have a pool. We have 2 beautiful community pools. All the benefits of the pool without the pool cleanup or the chemicals or the danger of, gosh forbid, a child falling in. But when they closed our pools down, oi, did I look with envy at our neighbors. Look at these empty pools. They never use them. If only we had 1 hour a day. I'm sure many of you may sympathize with me. Of course, rabbis can covet other rabbis' homes. I fessed up to my sin to a rabbi friend who's in a different part of his life and career. Rabbi, I have to say, I called him up. I said, I'm very jealous of you. I see you working from your home office in peace and solitude. You don't have small kids around asking you to open this and that, crying because this one hit that one. And all the while, you're trying to run an online class or a prayer service. The solitude you have must be incredible. Sometimes I wish I had just 1 day of your wonderful life during this pandemic. He paused. He said, it's funny because I was going to say the same thing to you. I see pictures of you with your children at home, playing games, spending so much time with them, more time than I ever did when I was a young rabbi. I'm a grandfather now. I haven't seen my grandchildren in person in months. I haven't had 1 hug from them. Sometimes I wish I could just have 1 hug from my grandkids, like I'm sure you get multiple times a day from your kids. These last 6 months have been something that have truly been historic. I can't think of a time in human history when the whole world experienced the same thing, some for weeks, most of us for months. We've been huddled in our homes. In the past, we craved that physical connection with others. Now, we run away if someone puts out a hand for a shake or their arms out for a hug. Who would imagine that we would be together? But you would be in your homes, and despite this Zoom background, I'm also in mine. I have to admit, at the beginning of the pandemic, I cherished my time at home. I didn't have to wear a suit or tie. Hey, I was lucky if I put on a pair of long pants in a week. But after a few weeks, that novelty at home wore off. And then we buried people. And people lost their jobs, their livelihoods. And on a personal note, I've struggled with these words to give a message that is going to be hard for some of you to hear. A message of hope despite the losses that you have experienced. So where do we find it? For a minute, take your eyes off the screen and look around you. Look at the people next to you, if you're lucky to have them. Look outside your window. This is where you'll find it. There's a part of our Torah reading today that is painful to read. Hagar and Ishmael are thrown out of their home. Abraham banishes his firstborn child. He gives them a skin of water, some bread, sends them off. The water runs out. The bread is long gone. And Hagar and Ishmael are near death. Hagar can't look at her son die. She screams out, "Let me not see the death of my child." She cries. So does Ishmael. God hears their cries. God sends an angel. And what does the angel say? Kumi se'i et anahar, v'hachiziki et yadech bo, ki lagoy gadol asimenu. Come, lift up the boy and hold him by the hand, for I will make a great nation of him. Vayifkach Elohim et eineha, v'tere be'er mayim. Then God opens up her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went and filled up the skin with the water and let the boy drink. God saves the boy and his mother. But it wasn't a miracle. God opens her eyes, and she sees a well of water. It wasn't a magic well. The well was there all along. She just couldn't see it. In the second book of Kings, we read about the prophet Elisha, who is confronted by the widow of another prophet. The widow cries out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know how your servant revered the Lord, and now a creditor is coming to seize my 2 children as slaves." Here's how he answers. "Ma selach, hagidi li, ma yesh lach babayit?" Elisha says to her, "What can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house?" She replies, "Your maidservant has nothing at all in the house except for a jug of oil." With that jug of oil, Elisha performs a miracle of sorts. He tells her to go to her neighbors and borrow their empty jugs of oil. She starts pouring the oil from her jug into the other jug. It miraculously fills up. And then her jug fills up as well. She sells that oil for money, and her family is saved. But what do we learn from this story? Elisha asks her a question. Ma yesh lach babayit? What do you have in your home? She answers, "I have nothing but a jug of oil." Nothing but a jug of oil? That's all you need. But there's another miracle. Her neighbors help her. She thought she was alone. She wasn't. Robert Louis Stevenson, a 19th century Scottish novelist, once told a story of young boys who form a secret club called the Lantern Bearers. They had small tin lanterns under their heavy coats as a secret emblem of participation. From the outside, they look just like anyone else, hurrying by in the cold of the night. But when they meet one another, they lift up the edge of their coats to reveal a hot, burning light hanging from a belt loop. We are in a dark place. It's hard for us to see what is in our home. It's hard for us to see our neighbors who are there for us. It's why being part of a holy community like Congregation Shaarei Kodesh is so important. We are like this special club of lantern bearers. When someone needs light, like when they lose someone, when they are lonely and scared, someone is there to open their coat and show them the light. Sometimes the things we are looking for, babayit, are actually hidden, like the first day of Rosh Hashanah. When Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbat, something is missing, the shofar. Due to the rules of Jewish law, we do not blow the shofar on Shabbat. Instead, we sound the shofar tomorrow, which will be the second day. But think about this. Imagine if this was your first Rosh Hashanah and all you knew about the holiday was today. The shofar is a sound of hope, hope for the future. You're not going to hear it today, but you will tomorrow. That's what today is about. It's about having the faith that we will hear the sound of hope tomorrow. There's a famous story about the first man, Adam. At the end of the 6th day of creation, which is today, Rosh Hashanah, he saw the sun was going down. The world was becoming dark. He starts crying. Frankly, he's scared. When it becomes dark, I won't be able to see my partner Eve. I'll be alone. And what about that Nachash, the serpent? What if it bites me and I die? So God intervenes. He gives Adam 2 flints to make his own fire, to give him light. Now, note what God doesn't do. God doesn't make the fire for Adam. I like to imagine that the flints were right there in front of him, but Adam just couldn't see them. And God says, Adam, look at your house. The light is there. I can't make it for you. You have to see it. You have to use it. This act, these 2 lights that Adam creates, becomes the inspiration for the Havdalah ceremony, when we bless the flame. The Havdalah ceremony did not begin in the synagogue. When Jewish men would go to the Beit Knesset for evening prayers, the women would stay home with the children. Remember, these are the days before alarm systems and security cameras. It was scary. So Jewish women started putting 2 candlesticks together, and they brought even more light into their home, creating a flame. The Havdalah candle has only one requirement. It must have at least 2 wicks. 1 wick for God, 1 wick for you. But it's up to you to light it. What a powerful message for our homes. What a powerful message for our lives. I've been thinking about these words for a long time. I've seen into many of your homes. Some of you have been lonely. Some of you have lost relatives to COVID-19 decades before you thought you would. Some of you have lost your livelihoods. Many of you have lost hope. I can look into your homes. I can see the light in it. But your challenge is for you to see the light in your homes, despite the darkness you may feel, despite how hard these months have been. Ma yesh lach babayit. What's in your home? It's time to stop coveting what's outside and focus on what's inside. Stop staring at the screen. Look around you. Look to see what is there, but maybe you've missed during all these months. During this week, I want you to search your home for the things that give you light. Share them with the world. May we soon return to a day when we are in a room together. But until then, may God open your eyes to the light of the world, and may the beautiful sound of the shofar give you hope for the new year. Wish you all a Shana Tova Umetuka. Have a happy and sweet new year.